Hello, my fellow chatterers and library lovers, and anyone else who's popped in because you're curious or you're lost. But if you are looking for a library tour, then you have come to the right place. I am doing the second part of, I'm not sure how many, of my personal library tour. So we're in the shelves in my bedroom, and we are going to do this one here, which is my beautiful pretty bookshelf. And then here we have my children's and YA fantasy with a little bit of sci-fi, and my everything that's not fantasy, and I think they're all adult. So we're going to start off with these ones. And once again, we're going to use the magic of pause for me to be able to rearrange them and show you them in a little bit more detail, because once again, it is one shot, no editing. So cheers. So as you can see, I've got Sanderson on this shelf. Some I've read, some I haven't. Frost Heart, and some other beautiful books, which I'm going to go into in more detail. This shelf I had when we just moved in. My husband had just put this placard that we got from my friend Carla for our wedding. And I just thought I actually really like it there. But obviously I needed something for it to stand behind to make the books stand out. So I'm just going to move my sand owl that was a gift from my husband, and the tiny teacup to reveal this. So this is a cardboard box that I then wrapped in wrapping paper to just make my books stand up to that height so I could have this in front of them. So I have all the UK hardbacks in the Skyward series by Brandon Sanderson, which is a YA sci-fi. I haven't got the short stories yet, but it's on my wish list. I haven't yet read this series. I'm very excited to get to it, but I am reading a lot of Sanderson this year, so it's probably not going to be this year that I get to it. But I am really excited. I really want to read some more sci-fi, and it's Brandon Sanderson, and I love his books. And inside we have these lovely end pages here, which I really like. I really love these covers. I think they're really cool. Can I get into this one? Yes. There we go. So I'm very excited to get to those. Cytonic I bought new, but the other two I managed to track down on one of my favourite places for buying books, which is World of Books. It's basically like a secondhand bookshop, but online, so you are more guaranteed to find the books you're looking for. They constantly have a turnover, so usually if you keep checking, you can usually find what you're looking for, which is amazing. So here are my two beautiful copies of The Way of Kings and The Words of Radiance with their embossed shard blades, and the end papers of beautiful maps. And I am getting some new covers for these, which I'm very excited about and will show you in another video. I do love the naked book covers. I don't like they're the US hardbacks without their book sleeves on, and there's just something about the US hardback covers. I think it's sort of like the font that gives me sort of like scary 80s vibes, and I just don't enjoy them. So I have got some other covers that I saw which I really did like, and so I have those, which I'm very excited about being able to put on these soon, even though I do like the hardbacks just how they are anyway. And although I showed you Oathbringer on my seasonal shelf because I'm reading it this month, let's do it justice. So these are the end pages in Oathbringer. I really should have checked the names of the heralds before opening this, but we're recording now and I can't check quickly. So this one I think begins with an I, but they have so many different names it's hard to recall them all, due to the different time periods and countries in the world. They do go by different names, but this is the herald that the bondsmiths would be following if they are knights radiant to him, and he's piteous and guiding is kind of his qualities. And then this page here we have the herald of art. I can't remember her other trait, but this is one that the Lightbringers are knights radiants with her powers. And I just love these two illustrations. I just think they're absolutely beautiful pictures of these heralds. And then in the back we have the other two. So I think this is Jesrin, and the qualities are leadership is one of them, and it's the Windrunners, the herald of the Windrunners. And then here we have the herald of the Edge Dancers, and one of her traits is healing. So we've got the sort of medical implement here in her hand. And again, I just absolutely love these kind of Renaissance style paintings of the heralds. I just think they're incredible. Moving on down the shelf, we have the Bone Shard Daughter. I haven't read this book either, but again, I managed to get hold of it in a hard copy, thanks to World of Books, because it's now only in paperback, and I am really fascinated by this book. I really can't wait to read it, and I'm very excited to have it in hardcover. I don't think it's got anything particularly exciting. No, just plain, not even got a colour on the end pages, poor book, and just silver on the spine. I do love having books facing out, and the one I'm displaying at the moment is Frostheart Escape from Aurora, and then behind I have more books so I can have that space. So again, we have Waterstones special editions of the Frostheart books. You tend to only get them sort of when they first come out, and then once they've gone, they've gone. This one, I was so lucky. I just bought it from World of Books because it was like £3. And it came with these sprayed edges. I really wasn't expecting it. I did then buy them for my mum, and her one did not have sprayed edges. So it was just absolute luck of the draw. So it is a little bit, it did come a little bit battered. I had to sellotape. There was a slight rip within the peephole that I did have to kind of sellotape up a little bit. But I'm just so excited that it has the sprayed edges. So Frostheart is a middle grade fantasy by Jamie Littler, also illustrated by him. So we have these beautiful pictures of the Frostlands with a quote. There was a kind of magic in the words that filled him with hope and tasted like adventure. And here we have Ash, our protagonist, and two of the other characters in Frostheart in these colourful illustrations. Then we have Leviathan and the Frostheart ship here. And then throughout the book, we have beautiful illustrations. Sometimes big page ones like here. This is aboard the Frostheart. I love this character. She is awesome. And then little tiny ones like over here or over the, chapter headings. And then just around the edges. I just love them. They are so delightful, these books. The story's amazing. I can never do it justice when I talk about it. I tried when I was doing my series wrap up earlier, and I just can't talk about it very well. Or I need to talk about it too much. And then we have the second one again. We've got two different characters. We still have this peek through, and we've got green this time. And here is some more words. They were stranded in the wilds with only the wraiths and leviathans for company. And just the beautiful coloured illustrations at the start. There's another leviathan, and then all of these pencil drawings. And then on the spine, we have different symbols, but still with that kind of ice world, Nordic, I suppose, people who are more knowledgeable at linguistics and what would you call these? What do you call these little like symbols? But they very much have the feel of this world, all the different symbols they have on here, and that you do get these kind of motifs throughout the book. And yet they're just absolutely beautiful. These illustrations throughout. It's such a heartfelt series. The emotion, the characters, the found family, incredible. And then finally we have Frostheart, the Rise of the World Eater. We'll see this through together. Nothing will tear us apart. And the beautiful illustrations here. Picture of Ash in this one, and again different patterns, and this one has got red down the spine here. And behind those I have Sorcerer to the Crown, not because it's a particularly beautiful book, it's fine, but because I just love that book. I think it's possibly the book that I love that not many people do, but I just really love it. The writing style really speaks to me, and I loved the characters in it. So popping these all back on the shelf, and we will move on. I might treat myself to another copy of Sorcerer to the Crown at some point. We now have Ink Heart and Ink Spell. These were the original covers when they were first published in the UK. I just love this hand coming out of the book and just the oldie feel of the book with these golden edges and the spine and the old-fashioned writing around it. And then it feels like all the magic is just pouring out of this book. And then Ink Spell, we have a similar thing. I just find them really magical. And I will finish reading my rereading. I will finish Ink Death, I promise. It just hasn't happened yet because these are so big. These are a middle grade fantasy, though I feel that they can be like that crossover bridge between like middle grade and YA. I do feel they have more YA traits and aren't really middle grade. Just, you know, the size alone of Ink Spell is just crazy, and it just does have a much kind of darker tone and a slower pace that I don't feel would engage middle grade audience as much. But I really love them. They are by Cornelia Funk. They have been, or Funke, I never know how you pronounce her name, and they have been translated from German into English. And I read these in my later teenage years and then found them. No, I had these two. I then found Ink Death, which was over on my seasonal shelf. And then on the backs, I just love this letter that has been decorated like it's like a medieval tomb. I think that's fantastic. Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Sulin is the Fairy Loot edition. So we have the different colouring. It's more of a pinky purple colouring with like blue tones rather than the greens and pinks on the non-Fairy Loot book. And inside we have the beautiful end pages with the koi. Under the dust jacket we have this foiling of 3 of the main characters from the book. We have the birds on the spine. The sprayed edges are so stunning with the bird and the flower all the way down. And then the end pages at the back. We have another beautiful illustration of the characters and the glowing water lilies, I believe is what they are, and the moon in the sky. I think it is just such a beautiful book. I was hoping to read it in June, but I just can't fit it in with everything else that I'm reading. Midnight in Everwood by M.A. Kozner is a book I have read and I absolutely love it. We have this gorgeous picture of the forest on the front with the ballerina and the ice in the foiling. And inside on the end pages we have this beautiful starry sky. And this is, again, it's a Waterstone special edition, and we have these lovely tree branches all the way down the edges. It is so beautiful. It is a Nutcracker retelling. It's an adult fantasy. Has a slight bit of magical realism because we spend a certain amount of time in Edwardian Nottinghamshire, I think. Anyways, Edwardian England. So we deal with and meet Marietta before we have more fantastical elements involved. Sorry, and I was just showing you the spine, and it's got a snowflake on it, which is very beautiful. I love this story. I really, really enjoyed it. It is very much more of that atmospherical, beautiful writing type of story. So if that's not your vibe, it's probably not going to be for you. The writing has got so much about food, especially like confectionery food, in the way it describes things. So be careful if you are on a diet. Do not read this book. It will make you want sweet things. And then we have my, well, 4 of my Percy Jacksons. Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief is on my seasonal shelf because I'm hopefully going to be reading it. I treated myself for my birthday last year to these beautifully illustrated versions. I love the artwork on the front of these Percy Jackson books. The previous ones were more like photography style, and I just didn't like them as much. And on this book, Percy Jackson and the Last Olympian, under the dust jacket, we have this New York Empire State Building here, which is really cool. On the spine, it does just say Percy Jackson, the Last Olympians in gold. And the other books do have a different colour. So the fifth one was black. The fourth one, Percy Jackson, the Labyrinth, is sort of this burgundy maroon colour. Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse has got purple inner pages and then like a dark navy on the hardcover. And the Sea of Monsters has orange end papers and sort of a brownie hardback. And if you put all the covers together, it makes this amazing long picture, which is incredible. So that is my beautiful display shelf for now. And when I change my books around, other books will then feature on that one. So this shelf packs a lot of books. So we have The House in the Cerulean Sea, which I have not yet read, but I'm really excited to get to. I love the cover. I love the skyline. And I love how this house looks like it's literally about to fall in the water. I heard such good things about this book. Can I get it out? Pop! And I'm really excited to get around to reading it. I've got these beautiful sea end pages. Ooh. So yes, very excited to get to that one. And I was very desperate to get the hardback before it went into just paperback. So I'm really pleased I did, because I just feel I'm going to love it. And books I love, I want them in hardback because I prefer them in hardback. Behind it, we have a book I've had for a long time, Starseeker by Tim Bowler. It's not on my list to reread this year, and I have so many books, it's not going to happen, but I definitely do want to reread it at some point. It is a, I don't know if it's YA or middle grade, but it is a contemporary book, and tells the story of, it's sort of like finding your place as a teenager, falling into the wrong crowd, appreciating music, and it does feature a character with a disability in here as well, and it's, I remember when I read it before, it was really beautiful and really heartfelt, and I really enjoyed that story. So here we have my little sci-fi section. We have The Prey of the Gods by Nikki Drayden. I don't know anything about this book. I've not heard anyone talk about it, but this was, I did a, was it blind date with a book from Pondful Books by, which is a site by Sophia. From Sophia's Thoughts. I really wanted to get one. I thought it sounded amazing, and it was so fun getting this package through. You get to choose, there's some like words that, well, I can't remember what words are written on the packaging, but she puts words on the packaging for you to get like a gist of the story, and then you choose one, and then she sends it to you, and obviously you buy it. So it was really fun. I can't wait to read it. It looks really interesting, and I definitely want to be reading more sci-fi. Then we have The Martian by Andy Weir, which I have read and really enjoyed. We have The Humans by Matt Haig, which I did read this year and also really enjoyed. And The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers, which I haven't read but do really want to. The Deepest Breath by Meg Graham is a middle grade novel in verse. Sorry, Ship of Shadows is just falling over here. And it's so beautiful. I really, really loved this book. It's basically about a girl who likes to know all the answers to everything, just in case she needs to know them at some point. She likes to read a lot of kind of encyclopedias, is really interested in the ocean. And then she realizes she starts to have feelings for one of the girls in her class and wants to know what that means. So it's a really beautiful exploration of starting to work out your own sexual orientation and what that means. And it's got a beautiful relationship with her mum, it's got a lovely librarian, and it's got a lovely friendship. It was beautiful. I highly recommend. It's just a little book, so if you're doing any readathons at any point and want a small one, it's lovely. Also, it's June, it's Pride Month. Give it a read. Ship of Shadows, I have spoken about before, by Maria Kozner. I haven't read it. I'm so excited to read it. And this cover is so gorgeous, with the peep through, with the ship and the waves and the sun. It's just beautiful, those colours. Very excited to get to that one. middle grade fantasy. Middle grade sci-fi, which we don't get a lot of. Orion Lost by Alistair Chisholm. I've heard so many good things about, and I cannot wait to read this book. I'm not going to tell you the synopsis when I talk about it at another point. Feel free to go and look it up. I'm not doing any storygraph links for this one because there'll be too many. But I want to go in knowing as little as possible. But I think it's about children in space, and they wake up and they're the only ones that woke up. Everyone else is still in hypersleep and they need to steer the ship. I think that's the gist of the story. Cog Heart. I have the first 3 books here by Peter Bunzai. So we have Cog Heart. I love these covers. I love all these different pieces that kind of come together to make them. As far as I know, it is a middle grade fantasy. It could be more magical realism. I won't know till I read it. We then have Moon Locket and Sky Circus. I really love the art style on this. It's kind of like, you know, like those little puppet theatres like done out of paper. It kind of gives me those sort of vibes. And I'm really hoping that me and Vidania Silverscribe are going to buddy read this and maybe do a Cog Heart along from September. So if you're interested in reading these series, look out for videos where we're going to talk about that. So here I have The Girl Who Drank the Moon facing out so I can appreciate this beautiful cover. I love that the title is all in the big picture of the moon. We've got a teeny tiny colourful dragon here with rainbow wings. It looks amazing. And paper origami birds. Like, are they swan cranes? They're the cranes, aren't they? All flying around. It just looks awesome. And I'm very much looking forward to the buddy read that is happening over on MJ's channel. In MJ's Discord in July. This is going to be so much fun. And behind this book, I have more books so I can squeeze them on my shelves. So let me show you those. So at other times, these all had the chance to shine, but for now, they've just got to be shoved behind so I can fit them on my shelves. We have the Polar Bear Explorers Club by Alex Bell. All of these are middle grade, guys. We're on the middle grade shelf. They're all fantasy. I love the Polar Bears Explorers Club. It was so much fun. There's a beautiful friendship group in there. There's Overcoming Your Adversaries. There's Feminism. There's this hilarious club. I love the clubs and their silly rules and the magical world. It's just delightful and fantastic adoptive parent representation in here. Great dad representation. Rumblestar I know very little about, but I really want to read Abby Elphinstone. I hear such good things about her and I can't wait to start my Abby Elphinstone journey. House with Chicken Legs I read recently and absolutely adored. It's my first Sophie Anderson. I get why people rave about her books. It was wonderful. And her next book, The Girl Who Speaks Bear, they're not like a series of books, but I think it's within the same world and the characters could be mentioned within it. So I'm very looking forward to getting to this one at some point, maybe later on this year. Then we have Wildspark by Vashti Hardy. Again, another middle grade author I hear amazing things about. I love this cover with all of these kind of like cogs and gears, which is giving me sort of steampunk vibes, and this amazing flying lion griffin thing here. And obviously I do love this Sophie Anderson covers as well. I really think these are amazing and very magical and mysterious. We then have some contemporaries. So we have Me, My Dad and the End of the Rainbow by Benjamin Dean with illustrations by Sandhya Brahabad, which I read last year and really enjoyed. It explores the themes of families going through divorce, parents having emotions, children getting that parents are trying to shield them from things but still having emotions. It also looks at having a parent who is going through a understanding of who they are. In this case, his dad realises he is gay, and I can't remember the name of the child. What's he called? Archie. So Archie is trying to work out how they move forward as a family, wanting to support his dad, and he's supported in this by his friends. And we have this fantastic illustration here. Look at this. It is gorgeous. So there's his dad, there's Archie, and here is the fantastic Pride celebration illustrations going on here. And here we have Melissa, which is a story of a trans girl starting to come out to her family and to her friends, by Alex Gino. It was originally published as George, but it's now been republished as Melissa. And then here, again, I have the cover showing out, is Root Magic by Eden Royce, which for some reason I have found really hard to get hold of. I haven't found it in any of the bookshops in the UK. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong places. I couldn't find it on, it was sold out on Blackwell's. And it was really hard to get hold of, especially because I wanted the hard copy, but I have now found it. And behind Root Magic is a whole load of other books. So this is the back of the shelf. I have got the children's Mahabharata, which has got beautiful illustrations inside. Can we find any? There we go. And I bought this because I do not know the story of the Mahabharata, and I felt I'd get a better idea from the children's version than from the adult. But it is the famous Indian epic, which Upon a Burning Throne by Ashok K. Banker is inspired by. I love this cover. It is beautiful, and the second and third book also have an incredible cover, and I will definitely be reading this next year. There's too many books on my list this year, but it will be happening next year because all the 3 books are out and I intend to read all of them. So this is the Burnt Empire Saga, which is an adult fantasy. So it's on the YA and children's shelf because I didn't have anywhere else to put it. So this is where it is. We then have 2 other adult fantasies, The Binding and The Betrayals, of which I have read neither, and both were gifts from my mother-in-law. This hardback has got a very beautiful under the cover,